Okay, next we're going to talk about verbal communication. And verbal communication are basically the words that we use when we speak. This would be the language. And language is made up of arbitrary symbols. Now, why do I say arbitrary? I say this because the meanings in those words are really based on the person and their experiences with the word. So, for example, if I said dog, we would all have a different image in our mind. For some of you, you might be thinking of your childhood dog. For some of you, you might be imagining the dog you have right now. For some of you, you're thinking of a very large dog or a very small dog. For myself, I was bitten by a dog when I was a teenager, so that particular breed of a dog evokes fear in me. Now, I also own my own dog today, and when I think of her, of course, I think of happiness. So that's why our language is arbitrary, because it really depends on the emotions and the person behind that word. So there's two different meanings of words. There's denotative and there's connotative. Denotative is really what's in the dictionary, the definition of that word. Connotative is going to be the emotional side. Happiness, fear, sadness, all of those emotions based on that person and how they feel about that particular word. So that's why language is arbitrary. Now, language is also an agreed upon set of symbols. This can also be confusing. So we all agree that this is a scissors, right? We've agreed upon it. It's scissors. For some of you, maybe it evokes negative feelings. I don't know. For some of you, maybe nothing. But we've all agreed that this is called a scissors. When something new gets created in technology, they have to come up with a new word. And then we all learn that word, we know about the word, and we can move forward with being able to use it in our own communication. Using concrete words when we communicate is really important. So let me give you an example. There's a continuum between abstract and concrete, and we really want to stay on the concrete side as much as we possibly can. So my face-to-face class that I teach at Kirkwood, if I told my husband I teach at Kirkwood and that's all I told him, he would have a really hard time finding me. But if I became more concrete with that, if I said I teach at Kirkwood on Wednesday night from 6 to 9 in Cedar Hall, room 325. Okay, now we've gotten really concrete. He would actually be able to go there and find me if there was an emergency. If you're on the abstract side, it's going to create more confusion. He wouldn't be able to find me, and he would get frustrated. So the more concrete we can be, the clearer our communication is going to be moving forward. Now there is a hypothesis called Sapir-Whorf, and this is where we create meanings from words, but we only know the things that we know the words for, right? If we don't know what the words are, we're not going to be able to use them in our everyday language. And this is actually a good thing. It kind of protects us from getting overwhelmed. So let me give you an example. If I said tree, we all know what a tree is. We have an image in our mind of a tree. But if you knew everything about that tree, if you knew the leaves, the veins in the leaves, if you knew the bark and the bugs that are in the bark, the amount of water that's held in bark, how the tree actually gets its nutrients, how old a tree is, I mean, every single little detail, you'd be overwhelmed and frustrated. By us just simply having an image of a tree, for the most part, that's all we really need. And so in a way, that hypothesis is kind of protecting us a little bit. So our reality in the world is really dictated by the words we have in our language. And so the more vocabulary we have and we can develop, the better communicator we can be, and the more concrete we can be, which will make everything much more clear.